When Mr. Pandaria Classic launches, it brings more content than you've probably ever seen in a Classic expansion so far, because major systems are overhauled, completely brand new systems are brought into place, and they even put a lot more emphasis on the whole play how you want to play, as in, if you want solo player content, you're about to get it. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about Brawlers Guild. Now, Brawlers Guild's a bit of a strange one because it's not actually that easy to get into, especially when it first launches. Brawlers Guild shouldn't actually come until Phase 2, but it is one of those things that you could see Blizzard putting in from the start. If they don't put it in from the start, though, it won't be too much of a wait between Phase 1 and Phase 2, because Phase 2 doesn't actually bring any new raids. Phase 2 will purely be the PvP zone in Krasarang Wilds, things like Brawlers Guild, and some quality of life changes which we can obviously expect to get right from the word go anyway. Outside of just slowing down the legendary quest line, which is what everybody's going to be doing to get their cloak, and the meta for your head socket, as well as a few other bits. With that said, Brawlers Guild could quite easily be out at launch. What Brawlers Guild is, before we get onto whether it's relevant that it comes in Phase 1 or Phase 2, is a solo player challenge. You can get into the Brawlers Guild either from Ogrimmar or in the Deep Run Tram area if you're Alliance, and it's literally you versus a boss. Each boss gets progressively harder as you go through, and there's various ranks that you can achieve. At certain ranks, you'll unlock certain rewards. You'll be able to get a mount, you'll be able to get an heirloom fist weapon, which can also be upgraded. There's a battle pet, and on the basis that there's going to be pet battles in Mr. Pandaria, this is particularly useful. And then you get a few cool things throughout different ranks, like the ability to sit on top of a zeppelin to watch other people fight, your own personal invitation when you get to rank 7. This means somebody hasn't got to get an invitation from other means. You can invite one person to the Brawlers Guild, and a title being Brawler, as you could have probably guessed, to be fair. Now, I've got to be honest with you, I loved the Brawlers Guild back in original MoP, I've loved it on the private servers, and I'm gonna really love it when it's in Classic as well, because it is just something extra to do, and it's fun, and you can almost be relied upon to be able to get someone into the Brawlers Guild. So, how do you get into the Brawlers Guild first? Another new system that comes with Mr. Pandaria is the Black Market Auction House. This is where you can bid against other players for rare or unobtainable items. So this could be like mounts or transmog, you know, tier from Nax in original level 60 Nax gear, for example. And one of the things that's on there is an invitation to the Brawlers Guild. Now, during the expansion, these, of course, will get cheaper and cheaper as more people get into the Brawlers Guild, and they can invite other people to the Brawlers Guild that will then be able to invite other people to the Brawlers Guild. So they eventually will get cheap, but to start with, I think they're going to be mega expensive, as I, for one, will want to get into Brawlers Guild as soon as possible, just to tick it off, really, as something that I want to achieve. So this is the first way. This is by just basically bidding against other players to get your invitation. The second way, as I've already alluded to, or flat out told you, is by getting to rank 7 in the Brawlers Guild. So if you've bought your way in and you've battled through lots and lots of bosses, once you get to rank 7, you'll be able to get a Brawler's Pass to invite one of your friends in. And the final way, which is the reason why when Brawlers Guild launches is relevant, is the rare mobs in the PvP area, which come with the Landfall patch, which was 5.1, so this would have been the first major patch of Mr. Pandaria, or our Phase 2, is there's a few rare mobs around there that you can kill and they can drop it as well. Now, that's not got to be the way to get in. So what I mean by that is you can have Brawlers Guild in at the start and only have the Black Market Auction House or Invite as the only way to get in, and then in Phase 2 they would have it where now the rare mobs drop them as well, so now everybody can start getting in the second phase, but for the first phase it's more of an exclusive club to be part of, which is exactly what Blizzard wanted it to be like in the first place. It wasn't meant to be super easy to get into, so that would achieve that if they brought it in the first phase but didn't have the actual rare mobs dropping the invitations until the second phase. So that's where it is, how you get in, and kind of what the point of doing it is. Now, is it actually hard? Now, these fights do get progressively harder as you go along, and some are harder for certain classes than others. You will very quickly learn what you've got to do on a boss. I don't particularly think that any of them are, like, impossible for any class in particular, but as you die to one a couple of times, you'll be like, oh, right, I need to move out of that, or, oh, right, I need to get out of range of the boss. because some of the mechanics are super interesting. Like from very basic being the 3rd or 4th fight, where this particular boss does a charge. If you don't move out of the charge, you get one shot. Simple as that. Or even one that goes up in the air and starts casting lightning bolts. If you don't get out of range of the boss's lightning bolts while he's up in the air, you're going to die. And also those lightning bolts could do with being interrupted as well. So some of them are really basic. The early ones, if you've got good damage, will just die very, very quickly. You'll nuke them down before you even notice that they have mechanics. Whereas other ones you'll be fighting and you'll just get one-shotted from absolutely nowhere. And then you'll be like, right, what just killed me? I need to avoid that. But then as you get through, like, rank 5, rank 6, and you're fighting bosses that have got 3 or 4 mechanics to worry about now, it takes a little bit longer to learn. But of course, we already know exactly what every single one of them does from private servers, and I'm sure there will be step-by-step guides for the hardest ones that you're going to come across, which I'll probably do something like that at some point, I'm sure. Now, there's quite a lot of achievements to get as well if you're into achievements, and none of them are particularly difficult to get. Some of them even include some of the cool little mechanics that you can do around the Brawlers Guild, like going to vendors and buying rotten tomatoes and stuff like that to actually throw at the players that are fighting the mobs, or don't throw them if you're cheering them on. If you're not cheering them on, yeah, throw tomatoes at their face. And when you're walking around the arena, you might be like, this ain't a very good view. You know, I really want to watch what's going on here. Well, you've got totems that you can click on to get a real cool arena view. And once you get to rank 8, you've got a very, very exclusive Zeppelin that flies around above the arena that you can use to watch the people struggling against the bosses as well. Now, honestly, I absolutely love Brawlers Guild because it's great seeing sort of like loads of people that you know from the server all like in one place, all fighting and trying to help each other with like, oh no, this is how you kill this boss, or, you know, you need to watch out for that. And ultimately, it's quite fun to watch people fail. And I know that sounds really toxic, but it's true. You're all just stood around there. You basically wait in line for your turn. So it can take a while, you know, if you've got 5, 6, or maybe 60 people all stood there queued up waiting for their turn to have their fight. But what makes it fun is that you can stand there and watch them. It's not like they get instanced or phased or anything like that. You can literally watch every fight that happens. And because it's going to be quite exclusive, especially for the first week or two, it's not like the queues are going to be massive, because there is only going to be limited invitations on the black market auction house. No one's going to be rank 7 to be inviting other friends. So, yeah, it's going to be quite cool to be amongst the first. And ultimately, to be able to get to rank 7 so you can invite one of your friends in who hasn't been lucky enough to actually afford one of the invitations from the black market auction house. Ultimately, like I say, it's just a great piece of content to be added in MoP Classic when we get it, and tons more content to come. So on the basis, this started as a members only video. By the time you watch it, it could be public to anyone. So on that basis, probably subscribe. And if you're a member, thank you for being a member. If you're not a member, consider joining. See you on the next one.